Welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. So we are looking at a combination of transformation. So I've got this equation here, y equals 1 minus the square root of 4 minus x. Now I'm going to change it and put it into the form that we know. So I'm going to go y equals negative square root negative x. It's a positive 4, so plus 4 and plus 1. Now, there's lots of things happening here. So straight away, I am able to see this plus 4 is the translation or the shift of the x-axis. I know the plus 1. When this is 0, plus 1 is going to affect y. So this is the translation of the y-axis. And now we have our two negatives right here. So those two negatives is our reflection. Okay, so now we can see that and understand that. We need to think about the graph that we know. So straight away, I'm going to draw a graph. And the graph that we know is this. This is the graph for the square root of x. Now, we do one thing at a time and we slowly add on. So the first thing I normally do is I look at the x-axis, everything that's relating to the x-axis, then I'll move on to the y-axis. Remembering, as soon as we go to the y-axis, we do reflection and then we do translation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be thinking about to go from square root of x to go to square root of x plus 4. Now, all that means is I'm shifting my graph. So my graph is shifting 4 spaces to the left because for this to be 0, for y to be 0, x must be negative 4. So that's just saying at negative 4, I have my graph. Okay, so now I've moved to the cross, then I look at the next part. So my next part of the graph is my reflection. So if I'm changing from y equals the square root of x plus 4 to y equals the square root of negative x plus 4. So all that's saying, instead of me having, if x is negative 4, which we had here, that negative means what's the opposite? Positive 4. So I'm jumping to this side over here. So I'm doing a reflection of my graph, which means my graph is going to look like this. Okay, so now I've done that. I then look at the next part, which my next part is the y reflection. So I'm just going to change my graph from y equals the square root of negative x plus 4, and I'm going to do a reflection. Okay, so all that's saying is because it's going to change my y now. That's what it's affecting. The whole answer will change what my y is. So my y is going to be negative, which means instead of y being positive, it's going to be flipping down underneath. So everything else is exactly the same. I still have x is 4, but this time it is underneath. So my y is all negative. And the lucky last thing that I look at is my shift in my y-axis, or another word is translation. So that is what's left over here. So for my graph, that is y equals negative square root negative x plus 4 plus 1. If this is 0, I've got plus 1, which means my y is going to be shifting up one spot. So on my graph, I know I've got this point here that is 4, and I've got this point that is 1. So that is where my graph is starting. At that point there, I'm going to try and keep the same curve. And I've got my graph. So it's all about, when we're doing combination or transformation, it's really about going back to the basics of what we know, square root of x, and then doing one at a time. Really hope that helps you understand combination of transformation. If you need any extra help, message me and I'll get back to you.